Welcome back for another episode of Tea Time with Terry Ann, or as some call me, Coach TA. Today I have my teapot filled with some lavender tea that I got in just outside of Nashville not too long ago, and it is delicious. Visiting with me today is Amanda Keeler. I met Amanda about a year and a half ago and have just grown to love and admire her over this time. Amanda is a woman of strong vision, seeing what most people miss. As a courage coach, Amanda partners with Christian women who are doing all the things, but still not living the abundant life that God promised. After working with Amanda, they feel confident, take courageous action every day, and implement healthy habits and tailored strategies to overcome their biggest obstacles so they can live in the clarity of God's vision and finally enjoy a life they love. Amanda has a special talent for helping her clients build meaningful connections and use their past and current experiences for kingdom impact. She is a desert girl raised in the beauty of Arches National Park. When she's not coaching, you'll find Amanda making music on the keyboard and the guitar, foraging for local gluten-free eats in Tucson, Arizona, or curled up with her black lab Alice and a good book. Welcome, Amanda, and thank you so much for visiting with me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Terry Ann. That lavender tea sounds amazing. So just like, that sounds awesome. I'm like, I'm going to have to give me some of that.
You're going to have to try this. I tell you, I was a little concerned, but it is delicious. It's become the new favorite around here.
Nice.
Amanda, you and I were talking, and one of the things that you enjoy working with is who is telling you no.
Yes.
What can you tell me about this?
Sure. So a lot of the people that I work with, just a lot of times they get stuck and they're hearing a no, and it's not even a conscious no. It's more of a, well, I want to do this, but, and that but is the no. So that but is, the fill in the blank, I want to go back to school, but I just don't have the time. Or, just a lot of times what it comes down to is good girls don't do that, or good girls always put others first. And, we are called to love our neighbor as ourselves. And if we don't love ourselves, then how are we loving our neighbors?
Oh, great comment. Now, so many times I know I'm if somebody gives it to me, I can have it, but I can't get it myself.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody does for me, that's okay, but I can't do that myself.
Exactly. And it's really just giving yourself permission. It's really just saying, you know what, I'm choosing this for myself, or I'm choosing this for my family. And, that everything has a ripple effect. And I mean, what you say yes to in the future, for example, my older sister went back to school when my niece was, I want to say 11 and my nephew was 9. And I'll tell you, that made a huge difference, especially for my nephew, because he saw that his mom was investing time into herself. And it was a little bit different because he couldn't run in and tell his mom right away when he made the next level on his video game. He did that during an exam once. He was really excited.
Sure.
You're always going to have moments like that when you're pursuing your dreams. You're always going to have funny moments like that. But, it just made such a difference for him. And I was talking to him the other day. I had the privilege of just hanging out with him. And he's 14 now. I was like, Zach, what, you're going into high school. He goes, yeah, I'm going to go to college. And I'm in ROTC right now. And I'm going to do what mom did. I'm going to go to college. And he is really reaching for the stars. He wants to be an engineer. So
yes,
I know. He did not get the math from me. I tell you.
So he saw her step out, take care of herself, and said, if mom can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, college just automatically became a given for him. And my my generation is a first generation college students. I was the first one to complete a 4-year degree in my generation. My grandfather went to college, but he didn't complete a 4-year degree. And so, we're kind of trailblazers. And so really just kind of setting that example and just being able to say, yes, I am going to go after a career I actually want and I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm. What, let's see. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I've lost my train of thought for a moment. I'm so thinking about your sister and them. Who are the 3 people who tell women no most often?
That's a great question, and one that we don't think about a lot, but the first one is just the world. We're often put into roles, whether it's ourselves or by society, where it's like, you just don't do that. And I'll tell you, when I was in high school, your audience may have noticed by now, but I'm blind. And so I walked into my honors English class my sophomore year, and my teacher said, she can't be here.
No.
And hell hath no fury like a mama scorned. I'm telling you, my mother, my mother got a call from me, and I was told I can't be on honors English. And I walked in the next day, I'm like, I belong here. This is, and he was obviously spoken to. And so fast forward about 10 years, and my mom was named Employee of the Year from her school district. She did a lot of work on a huge project. And so I was just so blessed to be able to be there. And this particular teacher stopped me in the hallway, and he said, you know what? You are my favorite student. And he taught for like 35 years. And, the moral of the story, I did not deserve the favorite student moniker, by the way. But, the moral of the story is people are going to tell you you don't belong here or you belong here. And especially as Christian women, we forget that, women in the church have been told, you don't do this, you belong in the kitchen or Sunday school, especially, my grandmother's generation, that was where they were belong. But we forget that, women in the Bible, like Lydia and Priscilla and just all the Old Testament people, Ruth, Deborah, Esther, they were all stepping out. They were all bucking the system of the day. So there's just this unwritten, fulfilling role that only certain people can do certain things. And we just have to break out of that. You know what? Like, just, I don't know. I've always been a rule breaker. But sometimes you just have to break down those lies, break down those barriers and say, you know what? These are rules that I don't have to follow because, unless they're written by the Lord, we don't have to follow them. And so, like I said before, when I'm going deep with my clients and it really comes out, like, what is going on here? Why are you not going after this? It's like either good girls don't do that or good girls do this. So good girls always put the needs of others before themselves. And, like I said, let's love ourselves. Because we can love others while still loving ourselves. And so it's a lot of times it's the world is number one. And the next one is really just our family. Our families, they don't like it when we kind of break their mold. And to change, whether it's, going back to school or starting a business or writing a book or whatever your dream is, all of that takes time. And I had a client who was launching her business. She was just super passionate about the clients that she served, but she wasn't getting any traction. And that's because she wasn't receiving any support from her family. And the kind of the unwritten expectation, they never talked about that, was you can do your business as long as it doesn't interfere with Joey's soccer practice or, Elisa's dance competitions, or husband going hunting on the weekends. So as long as you're still staying in your role, you can do whatever you want. And sometimes it takes sacrifices from our family. You know, my husband has made huge sacrifices while I've been doing my business. He gets up in the morning and makes breakfast for me every day so that I can work on my business before I go to my full-time job. And you know, the trickiest part here is just having this conversation. This is going to have to change. And, you know, sometimes it just takes a little bit to just say, you know what, like, this is the time I need. How can we make this work? And, you know, you don't have to accept that no, because like you've given up everything for your family can sacrifice for you too. It goes both ways. I'm not saying that they have to sacrifice everything, because you know it's not all about you, but a lot of times women make it all about everybody else and it's never about them, and then they burn out and they wake up and they're like, I have done nothing with my life. What am I doing? And the third person is we tell ourselves no. And this is the biggest one that I see and the hardest one to recognize. And one of the most powerful questions I ever was forced to reckon with was in a devotional by Sharon James. She's an author. And her question was, are you giving the yes, but living the no? Meaning, are you saying, yes, I want to be healthy, and then you skipped your workout again because you're just too tired? Are you saying, yes, I want to grow my business, and then you're staying behind the safe tasks like creating systems or building your website, instead of actually scheduling those interviews and scheduling those calls with power partners that are going to build your business? And are you saying, you know, I want to get better at playing my instrument, but you're still haven't scheduled those lessons? And you know what? Like, these are all questions I've asked myself this week, because we always have to say, you know, yes to the best things every day. Like, I'm still learning this lesson, Terry, and I'm not perfect. Like, these are examples that I just pulled from my life today.
Sure. Well, repeat that question again. Are you
giving the yes, but living the no?
Giving the yes, but living the no. I love that. Okay, I'm using that one. I'm using that one. Oh,
but
I
you
love
have to,
that.
I mean, and this is a really hard thing, is like, you have to just ask that question over and over and over again. Am I living the no? Or am I taking proper care of myself? Because sometimes you need to sleep. Sometimes, you know, you just need that rest, but you are the one who's going to know. And it just requires you to get uncomfortable. You know, we don't like pain. We avoid it. Our brains are wired to avoid it. You know, sitting in front of a video after a really long day at work is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. And, you know, what if I say something stupid? I probably already have. You know, but it's worth it. And that's the thing. Like, we always have to say, is this worth it to me? And so those are the three people: the world, our family, and our closest friends. They don't like us to change, and ourselves, we don't want to change either.
Very good. Wow, that's very powerful.
So I guess my first question for the audience is just to really get honest with you. Where are you living the no? And what do you want to change from that?
That is so powerful. I love that. Where are you living the no? Well, how can women overcome their internal no?
You know, that is a really great question, and one that I'm still struggling with and living out on a daily basis. But I think the first question is just like they do at AA, is just admit you have a no problem. And sometimes it's because you're not saying no enough, so you can't say yes to the best. And so are you saying, yes, I will volunteer again? And then no to chasing the dream that you really want to chase, the one that you know is going to make the difference. So it's just really first admit that you've you've got a no problem. And often we don't see it because we're just running from place to place. Especially working mamas, I don't know how you do it. Stay-at-home mamas, that would make me crazy. I just have so much respect for people who are raising kids. I'm not doing it myself, but my sister is just all over the place with my niece and nephew. And so really just getting quiet, getting honest with yourself and saying, do I have this problem? Am I living the no? Who is telling me no? And the second thing is just get outside perspective. And this is really important because people are going to offer you so much accountability. And I have a coach who will lovingly call me out, Amanda, you said you were going to. How's that going? And I have friends that'll do the same because I need accountability. We are made for community, so get in community. And I'm not just talking about social media, but really just sit down with somebody and say, this is my goal. These are my steps. Can I check in with you? Don't have them text you. You are responsible. You text them and say, hey, book that piano lesson. Hey, got up and did my workout. Whatever your goal is, whatever will make your life better, check in with them and give them permission to ask, because we just need each other so much. And this world has just become so isolated. I mean, I'm on a mission to change the way that we interact with social media, one person at a time, because it's just disconnected us so much. So really get in relationship. And the third thing is to remember why you're doing what you're doing. Write down that why statement. Read it every day, because life is hard. Life gets in the way. And if you really want to say yes to the best, then know why you're doing it. And this is the funny thing. When I talk about living in the clarity of God's vision, people are like, whoa, that sounds awesome. I'm like, well, what is your vision? What vision has God given you? And it's like, well, I'm not sure. I don't really know what vision God has given me. And that's really where you can just sit down with the Lord. Just sit down with your lavender tea and the Lord and just ask God, why are you calling me to write this book? Why are you calling me to create this worship side? That was my question 2 weeks ago. I still don't know why he did, but he said because it's going to change somebody's life. And he will speak to you. It's just a matter of getting quiet and just sitting down with him and really getting in touch with why the Lord is calling you to do what you need to do. And the fourth one is to embrace your identity in Christ. And this kind of goes along with number 3, but you are just as worthy as anybody else to chase your dreams, and you are just as capable as anybody else of having the success that you dream about. God has given you everything you need to succeed right now. Like I'm preaching to myself right now, Terry Ann. I'm preaching to myself because it's so hard to say, I can't do that. And I can't tell you how many times, like even just Tuesday night at Bible study, I was talking to a lady and she said, well, you're just so amazing. You're blind, blah, blah, blah. I could never do that. And I'm like, if I had a dime for every time I heard that, like I would be rich and I wouldn't have to work. But since I don't, I get to coach these people and say, like, hey, what's going on with that? Like, eliminate that from your vocabulary. I could never do that. It does not belong in your vocabulary, because you serve a God of possibilities. He says he makes all things possible. And so, just remember that you're somebody who can do anything as long as God is building the house.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so true. And, Terry Ann, the one thing that got me into coaching was actually I was talking with my coach 5 years ago, and I was applying for a job, and I was like, well, I can't do it because they require a lot of driving. And she just saw me and she goes, you know what, like, don't think of in terms of impossibility, but what's possible here. So that's the next question that I want you to remember. What is possible here? And we'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, Terry-Ann, because it's just so important just to remember what's possible. And then finally, this is a lot, but celebrate your successes. Success brings success. So decide where your first kind of milestone is, if you will, and then celebrate. If you're not on a weight loss program, have that delectable dessert. Buy those shoes if you, don't have a shopping problem like I do. Go to dinner with your husband or your girlfriends and just hang out. Just whatever makes your heart happy, do it. Because this is just so important, just to celebrate that, yes, I said yes. I didn't let myself or the world tell me no, I couldn't do it. I chose yes, and I went after it, and I gave it my all, and now it's time to celebrate.
Yes, and even the small steps.
Heck
Don't
yeah.
have to wait until the whole thing is finished.
Exactly.
Celebrate all along the way.
I just think about God when he was creating the earth. He didn't wait, and he's like, well, the sky and the earth are separated, but it's not enough. I need to create the ocean, and I need to put the sun up, and I need to make the plants, and I need to make the animals, and then those are those pesky humans I need to make. Like, he didn't say that. He said, it is good.
I love that.
And sometimes, like I have my it is good practice where I sit down and I list off what I did. And as I'm listing it, I don't always write it is good because like that's just a lot of writing for me. But, today I can write down that I did this interview with you and it is good because God is here.
Yes.
Because we are gathered in his name and he's going to do something with my hot mess.
You were talking about identity. I've talked about it before through my blogs. Silly thing I do is my husband went and got me this little $5 plastic tiara. And especially if I'm having a bad day, he'll say, I think you need to put your tiara on. It's a reminder to me, I'm a princess. Yes. My Heavenly Father is the King of Kings. That makes me a princess. And princesses don't act like this.
Amen.
Princesses can do anything. So I put on my little tiara and I say, okay, today I can do anything.
I love that. I love that. I love your tiara. It just makes me happy because it's just such a tangible reminder of who we are in Christ and who he has called us to be. He has not called us to be women who shrink back, but he has called us to be bold. And he has called us to give a bold yes when he says, go.
I always wondered why, as a woman, I was supposed to shrink back. If that's the way it's supposed to be, why did God make me outgoing? Why did he make me ambitious? If I'm supposed to say no to everything he gave me. So it's exciting to find that, first of all, that it's okay to say yes to some things. It's okay to say no to some things. I have to say no to this in order to say yes to that. So
Exactly. And I always tell my clients, no is not a 4-letter word.
Yes, that's right.
And, sometimes we have to give a no. Sometimes we are yes people and we're saying yes to everything except for that one desire that is burning in our heart. And then we say, well, I can't do that because I don't have time. Well, who is responsible for the time that you spend on this earth? Nobody is going to stand in front of the Lord and say, well, she was busy making cupcakes, so she couldn't write that book you called her to make. Nobody is going to do that except for you.
I love that. And that one thing I also learned recently is no is a complete sentence.
Hallelujah. Amen. Preach it,
I can say no to that, and I don't have to give an explanation why. I can simply say no. Period. That's the end. Mm-hmm. That's a hard one to learn. for me.
Yeah, it's a hard one to learn for a lot of us. And, it's, it's so interesting um, because people accept that from a man.
Yes, that's true.
And you are just as deserving because you are made in God's image, just like those men. You are just as deserving of being able to say, no, I won't be able to join you on Saturday because I'll be in class. Or, you know, or no, I won't be able to join you on Saturday, period. Because I don't want to. I'm going to be at home in my fuzzy slippers getting some rest because God said, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden. That is me.
Today I'm weary and heavy laden.
That's right. He will give me rest.
Oh, you are so interesting to listen to, Amanda. I so enjoy every time we talk.
Oh, thank you. I love talking to you, Terry Ann. It's just I hope people are getting something out of this conversation because I just feel like hey, we're just two girlfriends hanging out together.
That's right.
Fun.
We're hanging out here. Is there anything that I've missed in our discussion that you would want to still expand on?
Again, just your obstacles do not have to be obstacles. They can be this is old country song, and it's so corny, but I always think of it. That's not a stumbling block, that's a stepping stone. You can look it up. It's from the 90s. And as coaches, like I said, we think in terms of possibilities. So I just invite you into that. Just asking what's possible here and how can I use this to my advantage? I'll tell you, my blindness could be and is sometimes a huge obstacle for whatever I want to do. But I can do anything that God has called me to do because He's made it abundantly clear this week, especially that when I show up and when you show up, Terry Ann, and when your audience shows up, that people get inspired. We can figure out how to use what we've got going on to our advantage so that we don't have to just stay stuck in saying, well, no, I can't do that, or no, you can't do that because you've got this going on. Well, find out a way, because I'm not naturally Miss Sunshine, but I can get it done. And don't be afraid to ask for help. It's so hard for us to ask for help, but it is so fulfilling. Yeah, but you know what? People want to help. People want to be there for you. People want to do this. And, you can always exchange to help back. My sister was in class and my niece needed to go to, I think it was guitar lessons. And so she switched off with a mom. She's like, okay, I'll take them to guitar lessons. If can you take them to cheer practice on Wednesdays? Just figure it out. There's always a way around what's holding you back.
Sometimes we have to get creative in the answers, but the answers are there.
Exactly. And, we belong to the ultimate creator. So let him figure it out because he's always got a way.
I love that. I guess, that's the last person I ever do ask for help is God, and that's not where it should be. Okay, God, I tried to figure this out myself. I screwed up. Could you step in, please?
Well, see, and that's exactly it. And, that's always know that if that obstacle is there, he allowed it to be there. He maybe didn't put it there. Sometimes we put our obstacles in our own way because I'm really good at that. I will only speak for myself here. I put obstacles in my way that are not actually there.
I admit I do the same thing.
And so, when you look at it that way, it's just am I creating this? Am I making this up? And then, God, what is true? And God, if this is truly an obstacle, help me get around it. God, help me. You called me to this. You called me to overcome this. Help me.
I love it. I love it. You have a free gift for our audience. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So this is funny how this started, but I was struggling with motivation one day at work, and I made a list of things that motivate me, and I shared it with my coworker, and she was like, "You need to create this for your audience." And so I created an ebook. It's called 50 Ways to Get and Stay Motivated. And I actually reference this a lot because lack of motivation is real, y'all. Like, I had it this morning. I was like, oh man, it's Friday. Like, I don't want to go to work. And it's going to rain. I could stay at home. I could read my book. And it's like, you know what? Like, what difference am I going to make? So you can actually go to my website and click on the free gift button. It's a little confusing, but you can select either my 5 Ways to Get a New Client This Week course or my 50 Ways to Get and Stay Motivated book. Both of them are available, or you can select both. So, just hang out with me. I would love to have you come and join my community because we are saying yes every day. So I'm really excited just to see you get motivated and to see you just embrace the yes that God has for you.
One thing I've learned hanging around you is there's no way that I can visit with you and not walk away motivated.
That means so much to me because
I tell you, I love our calls together. I walk away saying, oh gosh, and I'm so energized whenever we finish talking.
Oh, thank you. I love talking to you too. And, I feel like we just have this positive feedback loop. And I hope that the audience is picking up on that as well and getting motivated as well, because, you guys are just as much a part of our conversation. Like, this conversation would not be happening without you guys. And so really, we just want you to catch that energy and catch that, just how much God loves you and how much, as long as you are partnering with God, not God partnering with you, but you partnering with God, like, your yes can become possible. You don't have to let fear or perfectionism or procrastination hold you back. You can do what you need to do to make your life better.
That is wonderful. I love that. Now I'm ready to give up with just a little bit of my perfectionism.
I know, right?
Step over the fear that I have in doing these videos. I promise you a time frame so I won't procrastinate.
But you have a great time frame. You have a great, you have just so much energy. And I love that you started doing these videos because they're just such a blessing to people. So,
Thank you.
This is such a great example of just saying yes and not living the no.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I will put a slide up with your website and contact information. Thank you so much. Hey, you've got to get you some lavender tea. I'm telling you, you've got to try this.
I'm going to go online right now and see if I can find it. I have a friend who's like a tea connoisseur, so I bet Kelly could hook me up.
Oh, yes. Tell her you want to try some lavender.
I will. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me, Terry Ann. It has been just the privilege of my life. Thank you so much.
I have enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sharing with me. And thank you, all of you. Until next time, stick with God. Say yes. Say no. Which one do you want? And how will you get to where you're going? Bye.